All right, let's get right into it. The countdown is officially on. We are now in the single digits, just 9 days away from the single largest token unlock in Plasm's history. So the big question is, how prepared is the protocol for this moment? Let's break down the data and really assess its readiness for day 78.
And hey, just a quick heads up before we dive in, this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is absolutely not financial advice, so please always do your own research.
That's right. As of today, we are exactly 9 days out from day 78. This is a true milestone event for the protocol, no doubt about it.
And to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, at the current price, this unlock represents over $1.1 million in potential sell pressure. That's a serious number, and it brings us to the one question that matters. Is the protocol actually ready for it?
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at the sheer scale of this countdown. Then we'll put the protocol's yield engine through a stress test. We're going to uncover a pretty counterintuitive advantage, run the numbers on a data-driven scorecard, and finally, deliver the verdict.
Okay, first things first. Let's get a really clear picture of what's just over the horizon. Because to understand if the protocol is ready, we first have to respect the scale of the event itself. The main event, of course, is on day 78, with almost 2.3 million Plasm tokens set to unlock. But before we get there, there's a critical warm-up. In just 7 days, on day 76, about 173,000 tokens are going to be released. You can think of this as a dress rehearsal. It's going to be a crucial first test of the protocol's defenses. Now let's switch gears and look at the protocol's core economic engine. Because really, to get a feel for how it might handle a big unlock, we need to see how it's performed under some pretty extreme pressure just recently.
And you have to remember the backdrop for all this. It wasn't pretty. The market went through an absolutely brutal 50% crash.
And if that wasn't enough, right after that huge crash, the market whipsawed back with an insane 100% bounce. It was a true roller coaster.
And all of this, the crash, the bounce, it was all happening while sentiment was in the gutter. I mean, the market sentiment index was deep in extreme fear territory. And yet, here's the incredible part. Despite all of that chaos, the crash, the wild bounce, the extreme fear, the USDC pools that actually fund the staking yield didn't just survive, they grew. For 8 consecutive days, they just kept ticking up from under $21,500 to over $22,000.
Now this right here is so important. What this proves is that the yield is sustainable. It's not tied to the Plasm token price. No, it's funded by real trading fees from bond activity. That creates a consistent flow of yield that should, in theory, continue right on through the day 78 cliff.
Okay, now for a really key strategic insight. And I know this might sound a little bit backward at first, but the recent price action has actually made the protocol's defensive position for day 78 much stronger. So here's the first reason why. At a price of 95 cents, that day 78 unlock represented over $2 million of pressure. But now, at the current price of 51 cents, that pressure is just over $1.1 million. Think about that. That's a 47% reduction in the actual dollar value the protocol has to absorb.
And second, the burn efficiency has gone through the roof. Every single dollar that gets spent from the defense pools now buys and burns almost twice as many tokens as it did at that higher price. This makes every single defensive dollar a staggering 87% more effective.
So let's put it all together. How does the protocol really stack up right this second? Well, this data-driven scorecard gives us a really clean snapshot of its current health.
And man, this scorecard is looking pretty solid across the board. Staking is at a record high 64%. That's strong. The liquid tradable supply is a tiny 2%, also strong. We already saw the yield engine's incredible 8-day growth streak. The defense pools, they're holding steady at over $66,000, which is adequate. And there's a really strong 70% cushion above the mathematical price floor. It's a very solid picture.
So what did that crazy market crash actually trigger? A massive flight to safety. In just 8 days, the number of staked tokens shot up by 71%. People weren't selling, they were locking up their supply to earn that sustainable yield. And this chart really just paints the picture, doesn't it? Look at that. 64% is locked up, earning yield, while only that tiny 2% sliver is actually liquid and available to be traded on the open market.
You know, this staking surge also drove a 22% increase in total shares. That's over 290 million new shares created. This is a massive reward for those who held on and staked through all that volatility, giving them a much greater claim on all future yield.
So let's bring all these data points together for our final assessment. How ready is the protocol for what's coming on day 78?
The narrative of this past week is crystal clear. The protocol didn't just survive all the market turmoil, it actually used it to get fundamentally stronger. The crash drove a huge surge in staking. The intense volatility proved that the yield engine is sustainable. And all that fear, it just revealed the deep conviction of the holders.
And this all leads us to the final critical question. The largest unlock in the protocol's history is undeniably coming. But the data really suggests it's not approaching a fragile, weakened system. No, it's approaching one that has been transformed by the very pressures that could have broken it.
When you look at all the data, the conclusion is pretty clear. The protocol has been battle-tested by market chaos and transformed by holder conviction. It appears ready. The numbers, as they stand today, really do seem to favor the patient.